of the presentation I created from the final report we did from the H3NI project, the OP3 Nephili integration project, which is part of the Nephili project. So why H3NI? The idea is to plug the OP3 platform as a service, an open source platform as a service that we've been developing for quite some time at Abelian, with the SMO, the Synergetic Meta Orchestrator, developed by the Nephili team, and also using some other components of the Nephili project, like the HDAR, some other tools. So the goal is to give developers a seamless, developer-friendly experience, deploying application using just one command instead of some more complicated setup. Of course, it means a lot of work to abstract away the complexity of the setup, and I will show what we did for this. So the first thing we did was to refactor the SMO. The SMO is a monolithic Flask application. We needed to plug in various parts because that was what was needed for the project, and we also wanted to improve the confidence in the code by adding unit tests and tests in general. There were some tests initially, but the coverage was 40%, and we've been able to double the test coverage, first by refactoring the architecture, by layering. So the most important part of the project is the SMO core, which is so a part of the SMO monorepo repository that we created with several layers: the core, the command line interface, the web interface, the REST interface, which is equivalent to the original SMO REST interface, and the UI and the SDK. So we've been able also to allow some pluggability into the SMO by converting some function to classes and so on. Second thing we did was to re-architect the OP3. So OP3 was also a bit monolithic initially, but we needed to introduce a plugin architecture. So that was one part of the work. And there are now two kinds of plugins in OP3, the build strategy plugins. So we can build using Docker, for instance, but we could also build using other approaches, including the original approach in OP3. And we have the deployment strategy plugin, which will state how an application is deployed. And in the H3NI project, it is using the SMO. And then we created a plugin that implements the specification specifically for the H3NI project. So this plugin is also a part of the deliverables. So the deliverables, as you know, are on the H3NI folder in the Eclipse Lab GitLab, and in this Eclipse Lab we have all the contribution we did over the project, including some forks of the existing code, but especially the OP3 plugin. The OP3 plugin, let me find it. Why is the OP3 plugin? This is the refactoring of the OP3, and the OP3 plugin is here. So the OP3 plugin implements these two strategies, build strategy and deployment strategy. So let's keep moving. What we did also was to, during the last part of the project, was to develop an intelligent placement algorithm to optimize carbon efficiency of workload. And for this, we introduced a class and an interface, a class, and we've been able to develop two additional algorithms in addition to the two existing algorithms that are more specific to this kind of carbon-aware optimization. We also designed an experiment to show that with the SMO and OP3, we've been able to leverage the fact that an application can be deployed on several clusters, and if one of the clusters fails, then the SMO will take over and replace the workload on other nodes or other clusters. So what we did first was to create an automated test bed. So the test bed is a part of the deliverables. The test bed is described in some details in the final report. We used Kind Kubernetes in Docker mostly, but we also used other Kubernetes implementation, and we have some screencast. We have, of course, the architecture, which is quite standard, and we have some screencast that show both the deployment of the test bed, but also the deployment of an application on the test bed to show that the work was done. So, for instance, if we look at this screencast, it's just one among the various ones that we delivered during the project. So in this one, we'll first set up the server, set up Kubernetes and set up Karmada, set up Prometheus, and in the end, set up the SMO and deploy the SMO. Another example of successful, so the next point was the integration of the SMO and OP3 or OP. So the OP works with a single command. So what you can do is just type OP, and when you type OP, you have the list of the various commands which allow you to interact with the OP3 instance. So with OP apps, for instance, it will list all the apps that are deployed at a given moment on the system. So at this point, we have just two applications, Test App and Hello World, which are both stopped on this particular machine. So we have also a screencast. Sorry, but this whole screencast, well, it will show all the deployment. It can take some time. It's only 2 minutes long because everything has already been done once. And in the case of pInfra, the framework we are using, it's an idempotent system. So when something is done once, but overall it takes 10 minutes to 15 minutes to deploy a full demo test bed from an initial blank state. So, for instance, the deployment of OP3, this was done. When was this done? Sorry. This is not this one. 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 So. Oh yes, sorry, this is this one. So this one is a deployment. It's very simple and very quick. You just deploy an application using OP3. So it's quite fast. Initially, we have a repository with just the needed file, the source code of your application, so app.py, the requirement file, stock file, Docker file. And then we run we look at the initial state. So in the initial state, the SMO says that there is only one application running, and it's not another application. We didn't kill it, it's already running. And then we run up deploy hello world. So we deployed our application, we call it hello world, and it will be automatically uploaded to the server, built on the server using Docker, and then deployed using the SMO. And it's quite fast, probably because it has been already built once. In a few seconds, the application is built, and we see that now the application is running on the demo cluster, on the initial cluster. So the next slide, sorry. Yes, what do we have? So what we did during the previous stage of the project was to work on traffic prediction. We achieved more than 90% of accuracy on this experiment, but these were on specific historical data from some website, and it is highly dependent on the kind of web traffic you have. During stage 3, we did an energy efficiency demonstration with algorithms that were specifically developed during the project. We are simulating deployment on 3 different clusters with different carbon characteristics. And there are 3 different algorithms: the naive first fit, which was the most naive algorithm, better algorithm, and the best algorithm which fully leverage the optimizer. And what we can see from the conclusion of the script is that the baseline is not very good, the heuristic is quite good, but the optimizer is even better. So that's one thing we did. For this particular experiment, we achieved a 77% reduction in calculated carbon footprint. We also ran an application resilience experiment using an actual cluster, but just one machine, and simulated 3 Kubernetes instances inside the cluster managed by Karmada, and by randomly bringing up and down each of the cluster 50% of the time, we've been able to simulate a result that was quite close to the theoretical result. The expected result for 50% failure rate of 3 instances cluster is close to 87%, and in the particular experiment, which I show a screenshot because it's quite boring, we end up with something close to 85, which is quite consistent with the theoretical result. In practice, the cloud providers like Scaleway, who promises 99.90% of uptime, or Hetzner, or even OVH, which makes a much weaker promise of 95%, with the three different instances at 3 different locations, or even better, at 3 different providers, using the computed value, but also taking into account that the experiment was consistent with the theoretical value, we get an uptime percentage which is higher than what was expected from the beginning. So let's go back to the slide. So resilience, okay. Business value. What's the business value for the NFLE project? We refactor the SMO. We believe our implementation is better, at least in some way, with a cleaner architecture, with more tests, and it's more extensible. We also created a fully automated test bed for Kubernetes, installing Kubernetes, Prometheus, and all the components, Karmada, and all the components. The business value for us as the OP3 developers, we've been able to evolve OP3 into multi-backend platform as a service. So SMO is one of the backends now, but we also, now that the architecture is in place, we can also work on other backends. But we can also reuse, and we will reuse some of the items we've developed during the projects, and the optimizer that we've developed for the SMO, and so on, in the future of the OP3 projects. And that's something that will be useful either for our customers or if, as we plan to, develop a marketplace of cloud application that will be based on OP3, but that will also include the algorithm that we have experimented during the NEFELIC project. So overall, the project is a success. We've been able to deliver a successful OP3 SMO integration and with various add-ons, including the optimization plugins for energy and efficiency, including some experience on traffic prediction and including also the experience of resilience. The SMO architecture is cleaner than it was, at least it's more extensible than it was initially, and that was the whole point of the work we done. It was to be able to reuse and to extend both the OP3 and the SMO for various use cases that were described during this presentation. So thank you very much.